right. Good morning and Merry Christmas, all you beautiful love streamers out there on Facebook and Zoom. We're so delighted to have you here. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte. I am your host, Horace. And if this is your first time, we are so delighted that you have chosen us and chosen to be with us today. Because we know with modern technology, we are extremely grateful that we have this opportunity to launch on so many levels and touch so many lives. And so we're just happy to have you here, especially on Christmas morning. We're really grateful for that because we know that many of you have um, many occasions and events that you probably attending, especially with family, and you've chosen to join us as well. So we're so happy about that. We want you to know that you can visit us anytime to find out about our wonderful happenings at CSL Charlotte. So please feel free to visit us at that website that I just mentioned. You can put in a prayer request and subscribe because we add our recordings to our website each and every week. So let me tell you about what happens here about or with CSL Charlotte, who and what we are. See, the Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte is a new thought community living in ancient wisdom philosophy based on the science of mind. The science of mind philosophy was developed in the early 20th century by writer and lecturer Ernest Holmes. And so Dr. Holmes was a man on a mission. He studied many truths from all over the world, all the world's religious traditions and spiritual paths. Holmes developed a fresh new way for us to look at ourselves and how we fit into our world. So at CSL Charlotte, every philosophy is honored along with every race, sexual orientation, and physical distinction. This is a diverse community. There are many paths to the divine. We can call it God, peace, love, spirit, infinite mind, the I am presence. It really doesn't matter what you call it. It is the power that resonates within you. You do not have to leave your philosophy or nature of knowledge. You can just join us at any time. And because we recognize and refer to many of the Holy Scriptures, such as the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita. And that's just to name only a few. So our vision statement here at CSO Charlotte is to continue a spiritual community, creating and preparing a succession of future leaders who can fully integrate and expose and teach the science of mind principles, messages, and practices, excuse me, that strengthen the mind, body, and spirit of individuals. And so one of our aims is to create a high collective consciousness for everyone in this community. And we teach everyone the tools to do just that. So come and join us as we meet each Tuesday evening for our group consciousness meeting at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to tell you more details about that when we talk about opportunities. So welcome everyone and enjoy our service as we celebrate this powerful being which lives within each and every one of us. So before I pass the mic over to our illustrious, wonderful, fabulous Reverend Millie, who is standing in for Reverend Rosedale right now, who's taking a much deserved respite during this holiday season, and she definitely deserves it. You're in for a treat with Reverend Millie. But before I pass the mic over, I want to leave you with this thought. So take a deep breath, because I really want you to really hear this thought today. Today is a day to not just focus on opening presents, but a day of opening to the inner presence. I'll say that again. Today is a day to not just focus on opening presents, but a day of opening to the inner presence. And that is from yours truly. And so now I'm going to pass the mic over to our illustrious, dynamic Reverend Millie.
Good morning, everyone. Reverend Millie here, and thank you so much for being with us here at CSL Charlotte. And thank you, Horace, for that introduction. Kind of big thing to step into, but I'm grateful to be able to do that. So as we begin our day today, a few things. We're going to start our day with a prayer from Reverend Wanda, and then we will have a reading from Jerry Campbell, and then a song. So Reverend Wanda, can you please pray us in today with your beautiful prayers?
Okay, everyone, welcome. Welcome to Charlotte, North Carolina. So this morning, as I speak my word in first person, I'm speaking that word for each and every person who is here this morning, who is not here this morning. Anyone who needs prayer will hear this as part of the collective energy. So right here and right now, I ask you to relax into this present moment, which is the present. And right here and right now, what I know is that I am forever grateful and honored to be able to welcome in spirit into each and every one of us, as I know that each person who has arrived here to put this space together this morning has opened themselves as a conduit for spirit to work through as and in them. We're each like wires attaching to a plug. And as we plug into CSL Charlotte, that power is turned on. And that power is the power that unleashes in the world and goes out into the universal one presence, one mind. There's a power and presence that is ever present, omniscient, ever working in our highest good. And I know that as each and every person who is here this morning hears what is said, experiences what is felt, they're elevated. The vibrational level of the cellular beingness of each person is elevated. And as that rapidly elevates our cells, it rapidly elevates the cells in the world. The world becomes stronger, greater, more elevated, more loving, more kind. And with that, we shift and change the energetic body of the world. And we return to love. And so right here, right now, I give great thanks for Reverend Millie, who has taken the opportunity to speak this morning, for each and every person who participates in putting the service together. And I give great thanks for Reverend Rosedale, who actually helped to create CSL Charlotte and created this space for us to come to be empowered each Sunday or however often we want to come. There are many, many opportunities here at CSL Charlotte to be a part of an energetic field that is a power and a love that goes out into the world. And so right here, right now, I just give great thanks. I release this moment into the universal one moment, knowing that all that needs to be done is done. It was done even before any of these words were spoken. The spirit is now present, always present, ever present. And I relax into that, take my human hands off of it, let it be, and so it is.
So it is.
Good morning, everyone. It is my honor to bring the reading today. It is called With Joy, I Welcome Christmas. It's written by Lisa Alban Baldwin. Far from home, Luke's gospel story tells us Mary and Joseph welcomed a child with only a stable field with animals as a birthing place and a feeding trough for a cradle. The story reminds me that no state of consciousness is too humble, no station in life is too lowly, and there is no fear that cannot give way to wonder. Wherever it finds a willing, welcome heart, the Christmas will be born. No matter how I am celebrating Christmas, I will carry this awareness with me. Today, I feel the dawning of promise and potential in me. as I feel the Christ's presence within me, afresh and anew. This is the greatest gift I could ever receive, and the best gift I have to give. And so it is.
The little drummer boy. You know, the reading spoke of humble beginnings for Jesus. And the talk title today is Who Put the Christ in Christmas? So no matter what your faith path is, Jesus is the reason for the season. Jesus is the reason for today. The master teacher. He came on earth. He was born here. He incarnated here to lead and guide us in the way that we should go, from very humble beginnings and to a beautiful ascension when he did leave. So I would like for you to think about that question. Who put the Christ in Christmas? It would be easy to say that it was Jesus. But during my research, what I found was that that Christmas was not even celebrated, or it didn't become a holiday until about 300 years after the birth of Jesus. So where did it come from? Who thought about calling it Christmas? I want to tell you a little something that was written by Ernest Holmes. He said that Jesus thought of the Spirit as being personal to him, as directly responding to and being aware of man's approach to it. He located God and the kingdom of heaven within himself. This was a different concept from the teachers who had preceded him, and quite different from what most of those who followed him thought. For Jesus mainly taught that he was a mandatory power that was within him. It wasn't something that was sitting outside of him, but he was one in and as that power. Jesus located God in his own soul. So complete was the realization that he was unable to find a place where he where he was the being called Jesus, and where God left off. We're called today to be in that place, to know that wherever we are, yes, God is. But what was it about Jesus that made him so aware of what it was, of what he was to God? He said that I and the Father are one. So just stick with me a moment for this, because it's something that would tell you who put the Christ in Christmas. Jesus, when he was born, and even as he walked the earth, he was not known as the Christ. Some people labeled him as the Christ, but that came after he passed, after his ascension into heaven. So this is what he said. He said that I am the way and the truth and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. So what was he saying for that? He was not talking about himself. He was talking about each of us. Jesus gave us back to a place of saying that we were just as good as he is. He was no better than we are. And if you grew up in the fundamentalist church like I did, Jesus was He was outside of us. And yes, he was a teacher, but he was something we aspired to be. We even prayed to Jesus. Yet Jesus told us this one thing. He said, the things that I do, ye shall do, and greater. So what is it about Jesus that makes us so special since he gave this back to us? How did we come about putting this Christ in Christmas? And what does it mean to each of us? Being Christ-like or being in that Christ consciousness can be being in service one to another. It could be loving each other as ourselves. It can mean checking on your neighbors when you haven't seen them for a while and maybe helping them in a way that they may need help. It can also mean just being there for them in such a way that it just allows them to know that someone really cares. I can remember a time when I was in college and I had kids at the time, and something very unexpected happened for me. It was the holidays, it was Christmas, and I'll never forget. I won't ever forget this. I was at home and I looked outside my door and there was a box, and there was a box of food. And in that box was an entire turkey dinner. There was a fresh turkey. There was all the trimmings and fixings, vegetables, things like that for me and my kids, which was really interesting because I didn't tell anyone that I did not have food for them for Christmas. And yet, Spirit just kind of set that box right there. That is the Christ consciousness that I'm speaking of right now. You never know who you may be blessing. You never know what situation they may be in when you do something for someone that is so unexpected. And whoever left it there, they didn't expect a thank you or anything like that. They didn't leave a note. They didn't say, oh, by the way, I left you that dinner. They didn't do anything like that. They just put it there and left it. And I just called them my angel. So I'm so grateful for those types of little incidents in life that allows me to be able to answer that question, who put the Christ in Christmas for myself. Another thing I would like to mention is this. So this month, we celebrate the birth of him who we think to have been the greatest spiritual genius who ever lived. And I would like to just showcase what it was, some of the things that Jesus did and said. I mean, he healed the sick, he raised the dead, yet he said the things that he did, we should be able to do. Jesus was a Jew. He was following the line of the Jewish tradition, but he brought something which was new, and that was the value of the individual life and the relationship of the individual to the universal, or man to God. Jesus taught that the great universal truths, one that we are surrounded by, a divine presence which presses against us everywhere. This presence is right here within us. So if I ask you, who put the Christ in Christmas, how would you answer that? And could you answer that? Could you say, oh, this person put the Christ in Christmas, that person, this leader? What would you say? Are there any thoughts on that? And if so, would you like to put it in the chat? Or would you like to just mention it? Would you like to say, this is how Christ was put in to Christmas? Anyone? I like interactive services, so that's what this is about. The same Christ is in all of us. Yes, that's true. That is so true. Jesus taught great universal truths. And one thing he said was that the conscious use of this power that is greater than we are, he tested by healing the sick and by raising the dead, by really being that example of what it is that we came here to be and how we came here to be present. There is so much nowadays around Christmas, people saying that they don't want to celebrate Christmas, or that's only for Christians. And what we find, if we take our time to listen and to know, is that Christmas, or that Christ that is within us, is a state of mind. That Christ consciousness comes from that place that is deep within, that allows us to act in a way that lets us care for people and to love people and to be with people in, through, and as one another, to be able to follow those intuitive hits and say, I'm going to leave this person Christmas dinner. I'm going to take these coats that I have decided to buy and hand out to the homeless or the home insecure, so that they are not cold outside alone. This same consciousness allows us to go to homeless shelters to help feed the hungry and those who might not otherwise have a warm meal, or to collect toys to give to underserved communities in which we live. And even if we don't live in the communities, we can still service them through various avenues. We can service them through churches, synagogues, through any place that we choose to be of service to others. We can do that. This same Christ that was in the consciousness of Jesus is in each and every one of us as who we are right here and right now. I want to read you a little something here that was written by Reverend Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones. I just love him. He said, I have often wondered what it would be like to celebrate Christmas every day of the year. Would it lose its specialness or transform us all for good? Can you imagine your life, your home, and your world with much more love, kindness, generosity, forgiveness, and joy, all culminating in a true peace that lasts beyond treaties, accords, and all politics? Yes, may peace prevail on earth as more than an ideal, but a reality, and may it begin this day and the next and the next and the next. So I know that for each of us, that Christ that is in Christmas has been entered into this world, this consciousness, long before we made our appearances on the planet. When Jesus spoke of the parable of the Good Samaritan, he was speaking of that Christ consciousness. He was not speaking as himself being that consciousness. So if we can just wrap our heads around that, just wrap our heads around the fact that we are here to extend this work. We don't have to identify ourselves as Christians for Christ consciousness. We can just be that consciousness of good, that consciousness of love and of great joy that allows us to hold one another and to help each other as we can in any way that we can. Dr. Holmes writes, I am grateful for the resources to connect with the origins of our teachings and be able to witness for with those great teachers and contemplators of what it is to live in this place today that allows us to always be present and to be with one another in spirit. So this is what I know to be true. That as we celebrate this day that we have set aside as the birthday of Jesus, I know that, well, I don't know for sure, but I'm just going to take a wild guess that Jesus was not born on the 25th of December. However, we are here celebrating this day, and it's something that's taking place around the world. It is something that is happening around the world in many faith paths. We're just being in that place of oneness, being in that place of togetherness, and being in that place of celebration. Even if you don't call it Christmas, we can call it celebrating consciousness. How about that? Let's celebrate consciousness. For some, we have taken the Christ out of Christmas. That is not what we are here to do. We're not here to take the Christ out of Christmas, because Christ in and of itself is a consciousness that extends beyond the man Jesus. Christ is that way of mind that says, this is who we are here to be. It's who we came here to be. We came here to be that which uplifts the world, which elevates the vibration of the planet in all ways and in every ways, and that allows us to just be in that place of knowingness all the time, knowing that when we get those intuitive hits, we're in such a state that we can just wrap ourselves in that consciousness and just do what it is that we came here to do, and could do it consciously, knowing that spirit is right here for us always and in all ways. I know for myself, and just from my experiences with all that has happened, with all the things that so many of us have experienced in our lives, I just give thanks. I give thanks always, always, and always, and in all ways for this Christ consciousness, for knowing what it is about this Christmas day that allows us to celebrate, as Dr. Jones says, What if we could just celebrate this every day? Every day is Christmas. So if you said Merry Christmas 365 days a year, if you live in that space and in that place, then it would be Christmas. It would be merry. You would have that Christ consciousness that is right within you. So this is what I know for us, that we just lean into knowing who we are, what we are, how we are here to be, how we are here to serve. And then we take advantage of that. We take advantage of that by doing. We do the right things. We come to the aid of others, even when it's so unexpected. We can pray for others. We can reach out and ask, is there something you would like me to hold prayer for? This is something that we can do. And we can do this always, always practicing, always being. So I'm just grateful right now for the fact that I still have a voice, because when we started out, I didn't. And I want to thank Reverend Wanda for her prayers for this, because it was, and not just Reverend Wanda, but everyone, thank you for your prayers for this, because I really did not think that I would be able to make it through this. But it just lets you know that when Spirit has a plan, when it's different than your own, then you're good to go. So just remember, yes, Jesus is the reason for the season. And no matter what faith path we're in, it doesn't matter. Jesus is still the reason for the season. And when you try to X him out by putting Merry Xmas, that's not how that works. That is not how it works. It works by being Christ in person, in expression, in each and every one of us. This is what it is. And so right now, I just want to say thank you for this time. I want to close with a brief prayer. And if you're comfortable with me, I would like to invite you to close your eyes and let's just enter into that place of knowing that right where we are, God is. God is everywhere present. There is absolutely no place where God is not. God is source. God is that unique divine that expresses through each and every one of us, that allows us to grab onto these teachings in a way that helps us to realize who it is we are, who we came to be, and how it is that we came to express as the individualized expressions of the divine that we are. We came here to express that Christ consciousness, that Christ vibration that allows us to live in, through, and as each and every person that we see on the planet, as we view them as God looking back at us, as we see them, we embrace them, knowing that right where we are, there's only Spirit, and that Spirit is who we are. And we can only express our good by holding on to that love, that inner peace, that inner beingness that allows us to just be present always and in all ways, that allows that Christ consciousness to come through in each and every one of us. We are here to be the Christ beings on the planet right here and right now. This is who we are. This is who we came here to be. And this is what we are doing. And as we do so, we raise this time, we raise this elevation, we raise this peace in the world. For there can be peace. There can be more love expressed. There can be more. And for this, I'm just so grateful. I just hold on to it. I breathe in deeply. And with each breath, I feel myself rising higher and higher and higher into that connectedness of light that is that God light that exists in all of us. All we have to do is reach out, hold on, and let it guide us and lead us upward and onward. Just as Jesus came here to teach us to do, we continue to do. For he said, the things I do, ye shall do and greater. And so we are here to do great things, and we're doing it. And with that, I release this prayer unto the law, knowing that my words have been heard, and I release it and I let it be, and so it is. Amen. And now our next song and then announcements. Is that how we're doing it? Okay, perfect.
All right. Wow. That was an awesome, awesome message, Reverend Millie. Just reminding us about that Christ consciousness that is within each and every one of us. It's not about, as I said earlier, about opening presence, but opening up to that divine presence within each and every one of us. And we have this opportunity even now to demonstrate that through our giving. It's really interesting because we use this time of year to really focus on being generous. But just like the person you mentioned earlier, Reverend Millie, about what if we had that attitude of thinking each and every day of being in Christmas, having that Christ consciousness. And guess what? We can. And even right now, we have the opportunity as we're focusing on moving from that heart space and being generous with our time, which we're doing right now, which is awesome, and with our talents, and also right now with our treasure. So I want to invite you, especially while you are in that space, especially after that powerful message on Christ consciousness, while we're in that space of giving from our heart and from that attitude of living and being in that Christ consciousness, I want to actually direct you to all the ways in which you can demonstrate that generosity, which definitely benefits this community. You can donate through Zelle, through Venmo, through snail mail with a check made payable to CSO Charlotte. And that all that's on the website as far as the address. And you can also, especially those of you who like to shop on Amazon, Amazon Smile with this community definitely benefits. And I want you to know, and it's not just during this time of year, but throughout the rest of the year, every time that you decide to just tap into that generosity where the law of circulation definitely is expressed, this community benefits. And guess what? You benefit as well, because you know what? We are one. There is no I in thou. It's just one. So you're benefiting as well, and this whole entire community and planet actually benefits from your donation. Because when you do that, it helps us to develop more leaders, to fully integrate and expose these science of mind principles. And that's what it's all about. Because these principles are exactly what the master teacher, Yeshua, was teaching. So now, I also want to invite you to recite with me our affirmative giving affirmation. So if you haven't already, go ahead and self-mute and place your hands over your heart if you desire, and take a slow, deep breath. because I want you to recite this out loud with me, wherever you are. Prosperity and abundance flows from the law of circulation, of giving and receiving. As I give to the Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte, I give of my time, talent, and treasure, which opens the path to my grateful return of good 7 times or more in my life. I am grateful for the universal power that exists to continuously open the paths for all prosperity and abundance that we all receive, and I now prosper. Take a deep breath and take that in. Because what I know right now is that there is a presence, a universal power that exists within me, that exists within each and every one of us right now, blessing us, infusing us with that wonderful divine energy of love, of joy, of peace. And it is from that foundation that we are expressing that right here, right now. And what I'm also knowing right now is that all the generous donations that all of you are donating at this moment in time is benefiting this community in ways that we cannot even imagine. But even first and foremost, too, each and every one of us are benefiting as a result of taking advantage of this opportunity to give, because we are blessed. We are blessed for having seen another year. We are blessed right now for being in an awesome, dynamic, loving community that are changing hearts and changing the world. Because we know right now that the abundance that is being shared right now is definitely an awesome gift that is benefiting all of us and the community and the world. And so I give thanks. I'm giving thanks right now for being a part of this community, being able to serve in this community. That's not anything to take for granted. I give thanks right now for the love that is expressed and for that awesome message and reminder about Christ consciousness from Reverend Millie. Thank you so much. And I know right now, in fact, I can't even imagine how many people are being blessed from that message. It's a ripple effect. And I'm knowing right now that it just returns even in ways beyond I can even imagine. So I release this prayer into the law, knowing that it has already been orchestrated before the words were even spoken. And so I release and let go, knowing it is done in divine law and order, and so it is. So now I'm going to pass the mic over to our A-team, Alan, to tell us about opportunities and announcements.
Thank you, Horace, and Merry Christmas to everybody. And just like Reverend Millie talked about today, it's easy to take Christ for granted when we're all in the hustle and bustle of shopping and Christmas parties. And it's good to just take a few moments, just pause, and to remember the real meaning behind Christmas. So thank you very much for that wonderful message, Reverend Millie. And we are ending out this year on a high note at CSL Charlotte. So if you want to know more about everything we plan to do next year, I encourage you to go to our website, cslcharlotte.org. And I encourage you to join our email list and to subscribe so you can stay informed of all the wonderful events here at CSL Charlotte. And I encourage you to go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/CSLCLT. And we post inspirational quotes, announcements throughout the week. And we ask that you like, comment, and share our Facebook quotes with all of your friends. And this is a picture of what our website looks like. And if you notice that there's always more to discover. So throughout the rest of the announcements, I'll be referring to the More tab on the top right-hand corner, where you'll always find more. So, like I already said, I encourage you to stay informed and connected. So visit cslcharlotte.org for our telephone number, email address, and mailing address. And I encourage you to subscribe. Sign up for email updates at cslcharlotte.org. Complete the form at the bottom of the page and check your email often for important updates and announcements. And we have one more event to conclude the new year. Save the date for our Burning Bowl ceremony next Saturday, December 31st, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And I encourage you to bring some writing materials because you will be thinking about things that you want to release, like old disappointments, family dramas, relationship breakups in my case, and also think about what you want to create next year. And it's not just simply creating New Year's resolutions that you will simply forget about after 2 weeks, but it's important to have a spiritual practice like spiritual mind treatment, using visualization, so you can stay on track and accomplish your goals for next year. So I encourage you to join us for our Burning Bowl ceremony on December 31st. And another way to continue staying focused is to join our weekly consciousness meetings on Tuesday evenings at 6 o'clock Eastern Time. Join us to experience the phenomenal shifts, demonstrations, and manifestations. We use our collective energy of good to encourage, demonstrate, and develop spiritual practices. And this is a great way for you to take care of yourself and also your family. We provide affirmative prayer for those who requested it. And if you'd like to join us, it's quite simple. Just follow the weekly meetings and events link under the More tab to sign up and request the Zoom meeting details. And this is a very intimate meeting where we all support each other and family members. And we don't have any scheduled classes, but I know we will soon. So stay tuned and informed. And if you like writing poetry, then we have a new poetry club called the Heartbeat Poetry Club that meets on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Or for you guys out in California, it's 10 a.m. Pacific Time. And if you would like to join Horace, and share your love of poetry, then simply go to the weekly meetings and events link under the More tab to sign up and request the Zoom meeting details. And if you're out of town for the holidays or for any other unforeseen circumstance, our Sunday service replays are always available in audio and video formatting. So all you have to do is simply click under the More tab and follow the Sunday service video or Sunday service audio links. And we also have started posting replays of our videos on YouTube. So you also have that opportunity. And we also have some prayer opportunities. So after our service today, we offer one-on-one breakout rooms where you can treat yourself to a one-on-one session with one of our practitioners. So all you have to do is at the end of the service, ask that you raise your hand and let the prayer coordinators know, and I will be working the breakout rooms today. So just raise your hand in the chat, and I will hook you up with one of our fabulous practitioners at the end of today's service. And if you need prayer throughout the week, we also have our prayer tree. So you can request prayer treatments for yourself and for your family. Our esteemed emeritus practitioner, Maureen Thurston, is our prayer tree arborist. And if you would like for her to support you throughout the coming new year, simply follow the prayer request link under the More tab to submit a prayer request. Okay, and that concludes our announcements for this week. So I'll return control over to our fabulous Reverend Millie.
Thank you so much, Alan. Just in time, just lost my voice again. So anyway, I am so absolutely grateful for all of you who decided to be with us today. There are so many places that you could have been, and you decided to start your day with CSL Charlotte. And we are so blessed to have you. We're very blessed for everyone who made it possible for this broadcast to be done. Alan and Horace, Reverend Wanda, Timmy, everyone involved, Jerry. Thank you so much for each and every person that's here and for each and every person that has made it possible. And don't forget to stay on afterwards. If you would like to receive a personal prayer, you'll be invited into a private chat room where you can get a one-on-one prayer with one of the ministers or a practitioner. And with that, we're going to have, are we going to do the song and then our closing prayer? Okay, we'll do our last song and then our closing prayer by Reverend Wanda. It's the way I feel about the consciousness on the planet right now. And that is what we are here to do. We're here to reign with that Christ consciousness. Who put the Christ in Christmas? We do. Reverend Wanda, will you close us out?
Yes, thank you. So as we close out this service today, or should I say as we take this service into our week, I know that everyone who showed up today has empowered me to move through the next week with grace and ease. And I know that the message from Reverend Millie has enhanced my awareness of that Christ consciousness so that I can be a little kinder, a little gentler this week. And so with that, I am very grateful. I give great thanks for CSL Charlotte. And I invite each and every one of you to ask yourselves, as you move into your week this week, how can I be just a little kinder? And join me in saying, and so it is.
And so it is.
So it is.